Hi, it's me, Diamond.
Hello, it's me, Tanya.
Today we're going to do eyebrow cover.
Yeah, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of videos out there with brow covers in. And the amount of times that I see, I'm not naming any names, but I've seen a lot of drag queens. We watch all the drag queens on TV, and their brow cover is terrible. You can see all the texture still, you can still see all the hair, everything. So we do need a glue stick. I do like the Elmer's glue stick. I don't like Pritt stick. The Pritt stick I don't really like, it's a bit too gummy, a bit too claggy.
Yeah.
But this one, and this is the disappearing purple one. And then we're going to need a spoolie, powder, and then you're also going to need a powder puff. And
something to fan to dry the glue with.
And that's kind of it. Okay, so we have a clean base.
Yep.
Our skin is dry. So let's just start. So we're going to start off with the glue stick. Now, I think this is the most important stage, is that you have to rub backwards and forwards and kind of in circles. And you have to get more glue than you could possibly think on there. Okay, I can't stress how much this is the most important section, is to really scrub all the way through. You've got to get loads and loads of glue stick in there. So that's what I'm going to do.
Let's go, here we go. Now, I don't think it matters where on the brow you start, but I always prefer to kind of start at the inner bit and work outwards.
Yeah, I tend to as well, but because I'm scrubbing, and then just make sure you close your glue stick out in between each coat.
Yeah.
And what I do is I brush all the hairs straight up and try and get them all quite uniformly flat. If they spike together, I tend to find that's when you see texture. Now, once I've done the first coat and then brush them up, I go over it straight away with the second coat. Because when you brush them, they're not lying that flat. So when you press it down with the glue stick while it's still dry, it will just press the hairs flat. So while that's now drying, I'll do the other side. So, right, as you can see, they look very hairy now. But that's because they're pressed up. Now, what you have to do with those is let them dry. And how you know they're dry is, for me, they go completely see-through. So that I know it is. And then what I do, when I think that they're almost dry, I just touch them lightly and see if, what are you doing over there? I'll just see if they're dry by really lightly touching. Okay, so I can tell that they are almost dry. They're not quite dry yet. Be really, really careful. If you see any little glue, any little bits of glue peeling off, don't peel it.
It will come off like a layer.
Yeah. Get your cleanser or cleansing water and gently go around your brows if you see it happening. But if you put enough glue and you're nice and quick, then you'll be okay. So that now is completely dry for me. So I'm now going to get more glue. It's a really, really important stage. I don't think people realise how important this stage really is. I personally do. I think it's one of the most important parts about doing your makeup is just doing a good brow cover. And by the way, only brush them with the spoolie once. Okay, don't brush them again. If you start to brush them again after that's dried, you're going to start lifting up all the hair and lifting the glue as well.
Yeah.
So you only ever brush them once. Now I'm going to get some powder ready. So like I said, I'm just using airspun powder. Okay, so I'm just going to get that open. And my poof, I'm just going to load it. Okay, so just to have that ready, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do very similar to the first time that I put the glue in my brows. I'm going to go backwards and forwards over them. This freaks a lot of people out when I show them this, because then they think, oh my god, it's going to lift all the hairs. But if your brows are dry, if that glue is dry, then nothing's going to lift. But what it's going to do is it's going to put glue in between the hairs. So you're going to get a smoother surface.
Yeah, fill up the lines.
To fill up, yeah. Basically, it's like a polyfiller.
Yeah.
Fills all the cracks.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go backwards and forwards again and get it really purple. But then I'm going to be really, really quick with my powder as well. So I powder when it's wet, and I only powder the once over the glue stick. So while it's still wet, I'll get my powder and really gently, I'm just tapping the powder on first, and then I can start to press a bit firmer. What that will do is that will help press them down. So now I'm being quite firm. And really pressing them down. It's really important that you use a powder puff and you don't use a cotton pad, because a cotton pad will stick. The idea is just to get all the texture away as well, so there's no texture. And what I mean by texture is you don't see the lines where the hairs are. But that's how I cover my brows.
And you're done.
And I'm done. So all I need to do is now foundation.
Now I'm going to do one last layer of glue, and I'm going to do I'm going to do that disgusting Trixie Mattel thing. It's not disgusting. I mean, it is non-toxic and it's child friendly, child safe.
Child safe. It is child safe.
It's non-toxic, so you can do a bit of wetting it.
Why do you wet it then? What does that do? Does it just make it slip over more?
I find when I do the last one, if it's wet, it just gives a bit more of a liquid kind of, so it fills between the ridges of the brow. I mean, I'd already done about 3 or 4 layers before this one, so I feel like I probably didn't need it. But then whilst that's wet, I usually go in and, ooh, that's a lot of powder. I usually go in and press the powder in whilst it's still wet, or at least damp.
Yes. So now the next stage, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover. So I'm going to use a concealer. So I'm going to use a concealer that's slightly kind of peach undertoned. So this, it's a peach undertoned concealer, which I really like because I don't have to use a colour corrector then. And because I've used this airspun powder, it's got pigment in it, so I don't really need to do any colour correction because it's already sort of quite light and quite white. So just dust off all your excess powder, and then I just go in. This is Elmer Skin Base Concealer in Deep 1. This is the colour that I use a lot. And just a flat brush, a nice flat eyeshadow brush. And then the most important thing is that you don't brush over your brows. You just stipple, and as you stipple, it just covers every single thing.
Because if you were to brush or swipe to and from, you might again disturb what you've put down underneath with the glue and the powder. And then you've spent 5 to 10 minutes gluing down your eyebrows for no reason.
Yes.
Now I'm a bit of a sponge fanatic.
You are indeed.
So I just like to get some foundation onto the sponge, and I still kind of stipple it on top.
So you see, I mean, there's enough to cover just using a concealer. Like I said, the only time you really do need to do colour correction is if you've got really, really dark brows. I mean, like I said, but if you've got a good concealer that's got fantastic coverage, which, by the way, this does. I find this the best concealer ever. That you don't need to colour correct if the concealer's good enough. And then you just have to be really, really, really careful what you put over your brows. Remember, they are still there, but that glue is still wet a little bit. It will dry soon.
That's why I find once I've covered my eyebrows, I do see some people start putting their eyebrows in immediately before doing anything else. Personally, I can't do that because I need to know how big my eye makeup will be before I draw in a brow. Otherwise, I might not have enough space. So, and also I like the glue and the foundation to set and dry completely before I start disrupting it with any other products on top. So for me, I will go from this point, I will go into the rest of the face, the rest of the skin, and then I will do my eye makeup, and then when I'm happy with the eye makeup and I've got everything in place, I will put the eyebrows in.
Yeah. See, because I tend to do my eyebrows first, just because I like doing it that way. I've just powdered that. I've just powdered my concealer, and now I'm going to go with my foundation. I'm going to try a bit of a new foundation for me today. I'm going to try the Ordinary Coverage Foundation. high coverage foundation formula. Simply because I really love this skincare. I've been using the skincare for a while. I'm going to give this a try, and I'm going to use the Real Techniques sponge. I believe it's called a Miracle Complexion or Miracle Complexion sponge. It's really nice. It's really soft. So I'm going to give it a try. It's got a flat end. Yeah, and it's a circular sponge, otherwise egg-shaped. So I'm going to give it a try, and those of you who know me know that I hate sponges. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it today, because they just waste so much product generally. It's really strange getting used to using a sponge, because those of you who do know me, I use brushes. I've been using brushes for years to do my foundation and everything. I just found sponges to be really kind of annoying, and they absorb too much product. But this is actually not that bad. It's absorbing a bit, but I'm getting a nice coverage out of it. It's a bit of a strange colour. The colour I picked was 3.0R, which is a medium dark with red undertones. And it doesn't look red, like red undertones, because my skin colour is quite different. I'm not very yellow based. I've got a lot of red in my skin. A lot of people think I'm really olive, but I'm not. If you put something too olive on me, it can tend to go green. And I don't really like to look green. Not all the time anyway. I mean, I did do it once for Halloween.
I mean, it isn't easy being green.
No, it's not easy being green. I have done it before. That was fun. Maybe I should redo that. I should redo my old looks. That might be something that I can do.
You should definitely revisit that one, because that was a fun one.
Yeah, that looked amazing.
I'm going to move on to contour and a little bit of highlight. I'm not going to do much highlighting today, so a little bit, but I'm definitely going to do some contour. And you might have noticed I've just powdered most of my face, and I am putting a cream foundation on top of that. Some people find that really confusing and odd, but it works for me.
Okay, well, I'm going to go into my concealer under my eyes. So I'm going to use a light 2 Damascus skin base as well. And I'm going to pick it up with the end of the sponge. But you know what? It's all about trying new things. I know it's an old thing to try, but it's new for me.
Don't know what I'm doing hair-wise later on, so I'm just gonna try and blend this into my hairline.
Feels very strange, but I'm not mad at it. But it is, I must say, it is very, very, very strange using a sponge. I mean, I'm just so tempted. My brushes are right here. I'm just so tempted to pick up a brush.
Tempted to grab it and go.
But I am going to move on to some brushes now, anyway, because I'm going to do contouring. So that's foundation and a little bit of highlighting to start with. I like to go into contouring as well. So I'm reaching for my Bobbi Brown BBU palette, which I really love. And I'm going to start doing a little bit of cream contour. So the colour I'm going to use is Chestnut.
It's very efficient, yeah. Telling them what colours you're using. I'm using this colour, which I have no idea what is. It is FS08 by Vital, which I actually bought online and then found out a shop just around the corner sells every colour in the universe. And then I used Illamasqua Rich Liquid Foundation in colour RF210.
Actually, I don't think that's quite dark enough. No, so I'm going to use something else. So I'm going into the other side of the BB powder. As you can see, it's very well used and very well loved. So I'm going to go into espresso now, because that just wasn't dark enough. And this is their stick foundation. Ooh, that's better. And sorry, yes, I'm using a brush to blend it. Old habits die hard.
They do indeed.
And then a bit of nose contour. Now I don't go in for that ultra thin little nose with the turn up and the exclamation point and everything. I just put a little bit on and blend it away, just so it doesn't look too big. I mean, I do this at the beginning and then set it all and then tend to go over the rest of my face, and then I'll come back to my skin later on with powders as well.
Now I've gotten to the point where I would normally move on to my nose contour, but for the purpose of this video I'm not going to move on to that, because I feel that that might just cover up the eyebrow cover, which is kind of the point of this video, so I'm gonna stop it there right now.
Is that really weird doing your contouring up so high?
The whole thing, the whole thing is really weird.
This is really high for you because your beard comes up so high.
So I've purposely kind of put it a little bit too high actually, which looks weird, because I normally put my contour so that it kind of meets up with the corners of my mouth, but the corners of my mouth are now
hairy.
Very hairy, so that's not an option.
Yeah, see, that's because I do that still, because I trim mine quite low.
Yeah.
Down here, so that I can fit all of that in. Right, I'm going to do a bit of powder, and I'm going to do what all the beauty gurus do, and I'm going to use the sponge slightly wet, and I'm going to pick up some powder.
Excited to see how that works for you.
Probably won't, because all the beauty gurus that do this are all in their 20s.
Mm-hmm. They're all children.
No lines or wrinkles under their skin, under their eyes. Which, when you're a mature lady of in their 30s, like we are.
In our 30s,
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. This, I believe, is called baking.
Bacon?
Bacon, yeah.
I love bacon.
Me too. But I'm not going to let it sit on my skin for too long, because I just find that if you put too much powder on from the very beginning, it just dries your skin out under your eyes. And you tend to look older and crepier underneath your eyes.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't tend to do it that much. But this, I'm liking the idea of the beauty blender though, because it's slightly damp. I have a feeling that I'm just going to kind of press it in with a clean side. And it might take away some of the powderiness and just keep it set. No, that didn't work at all, really. Right, so that's how we cover our brows. Quite in depth, quite long, and we did get a foundation and a bit of contouring on with that as well. But that's how we do our base.
Yep.
So that's your base work done. Yep. But the brow cover is the most important thing. If you have any questions at all about brow cover, just leave some in the thingy below, in the box below.
Comment section.
Comment section.
Yes.
Box below. Thingy below.
Thingy below. Yes.
So let us know if this was helpful. Hopefully it was. I find a brow cover, to know how to do a brow cover, every single makeup artist or makeup junkie, as I like to say, needs to know how to do a good brow cover. It really does help, because now, I mean, look, I don't have a 4-head anymore, I have a 5-head.
Indeed, that's true. And you also have lots of space to create your new eyebrows.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to put them right the way up here.
Yes.
Yeah, as
permanently surprised.
Yes.
Yes, that's it. Okay, well, thank you for watching. As we said, leave any comments or questions in the comment section below, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.